here on Friday. We are alive to that, and I want to commit the ministry and the UPDF that at appropriate time we shall find a way that we shall relay all these concerns to the CDF and have him interact with this committee in the shortest time possible. Yeah. And with me here, I have a number of officials to help me make the presentation. Honorable Chair, I wanted your guidance whether you do want us to give, as we've been doing before, a brief security brief about the state of affairs, or we go straight to the responses, which I could do.
Honorable Minister, first of all, thank you, Sechi, and please let me give a chance to others. It doesn't have to always be you.
No, but then that's where you go wrong. I'm the one who raised the matter.
Yes, I have ruled that we are proceeding well.
Clarification, I don't
Clarification?
think you say it can't be me. Others will have their time, Mr. Chairman.
Clarification?
Don't personalize this. Mr. Chairman, Parliament, the biggest instrument we have in our hands is the budget. That is when we have to check the entity before us. Whether there is a bill that is coming up where we shall interface with them and the CDF, that's another matter. But all over the world, budget is where the legislature holds our agencies to account. And this is the only one very strong moment which is comparing the entity before us, the agencies before us, not here only the committee, but even other committees, to interface. And we know we are moving in the right direction as a country. So, Mr. Chairman, the budget is the greatest opportunity for us to meet. Any other, they can opt not to come. They can opt to withdraw the bill. They can opt all those other issues. Mr. Chairman, as the introductions were going on, we have amidst us the Joint Chief of Staff.
Honorable Sechko, you are seeking clarification, or
Yes,
you are addressing?
I'm giving more beef, buttressing my point. We already have the Joint Chief of Staff, Special Forces Command. And this, in the structure we have of the UPDF, is new. Is new in a sense that it isn't yet formalized.
Did I hear you right?
Yes.
Were you listening properly?
Yes.
We have Chief of Staff UPDF.
Yes.
So, what did you mention?
I had Joint Chief of Staff SFC.
General Gonyi, can you reintroduce yourself?
General David Gonyi, the Chief of Staff of UPDF Air Forces.
Thank you.
That is Air Forces Command. Can he introduce himself?
Who is that? Okay.
And that is a matter that is soon coming up for this committee.
Point for clarification.
Yes, before the bill is passed, one is already serving, and that's why we needed a substantive CDF to explain on that. So that once we move in the right direction.
Thank you. So, I have already within, you are right, as a member of parliament, information, clarification, but as I said, they all touch to the core of the UPDF bill that will soon be presented before us. So to pretend to be discussing the bill before it is presented before us, it's certainly not good. Today, we are discussing, and you write, you know that, Honorable Sechko, that the matter before us is the budget framework paper. We are therefore proceeding well. Shadow, then we, and that should be
stated that you only needed 2 dockets, that is the minister and the secretary. What are all these other generals doing here?
You did not...
Chair, you clearly stated Chair, before we stepped out on Friday, we demanded to know where the CDF is. We have not got any formal communication. We have not, as a committee. Chair, it is really disgrace that after we left the committee, we still had communication by the CDF using his X account, calling us clowns. Members of Parliament on this committee, even insisting that he will arrest us and imprison us on his X account. Here we have not yet got any communication. And you're now telling us that the Speaker called you, and yet we summoned the CDF. Chair, we think we should have an in-house meeting so that because we do not want to respect our chairperson in front of our guests.
Honorable Nyeko, let me again, I said we are handling budget framework paper. The team headed by the minister as a head of policy, that includes the permanent secretary who implements the budget and all other directors who handle that. They are before us. What we demanded, the Right Honorable Speaker communicated to me as a chairperson. When I am seated here chairing, I am here on behalf of the Speaker. We are absolutely in order. The matters of X, I think, honorable colleagues and our visitors, today we are not finding X like mathematicians. Let us address matters of budget framework paper. I thank you.
Chair.
And I've not given you, I gave you a chance. Can I give a chance to another person?
No, but Chair, you are ruling, and Chair of Parliament.
Honorable Nyeko, can Honorable Nabos speak?
Mr. Chair, thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, with the defense. And anything regarding defense cannot be taken casually.
Certainly.
Now, a CDF start texting and calling us clowns. This is government. This, the Parliament of Uganda is part of the government. Mr. Chairperson, the constitution here is clear. Article 208, that the UPDF will respect civilian authority. And the commander of defense forces to come out and intimidate and threaten to arrest members of Parliament. Mr. Chairman, what I think it tantamounts, I think we may find it tantamounting to treason. Because you are arresting, you are saying you can arrest the members of Parliament. And the Parliament is part of the government. Mr. Chairman, I think you should let us know if in your communication with the Speaker, whether that issue of threatening members of Parliament to arrest them, to intimidate them from doing its work, I think, Mr. Chairman, that one should be clarified before we continue to handle the issues of Ministry of Defense.
Thank you. X, which we read later on that it had been hacked, announced as. How do I?
Yeah, we cannot read from one
Thank
informal
you.
source.
So why are you, if it is informal source, why are you quoting it?
But that is
Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, can we continue?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, maybe tell us meeting and interfacing with the CDF.
Thank you.
What was in the letter the minister wrote to you or to the Speaker?
The minister, I am not, Honorable Sechikubo.
Tell us kindly, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chikubo, cool down, my brother. The minister wrote to me as soon as we left here concerning his appearance for the budget and requesting that we find another day, which we responded, and the day is today and now. Right? That's the communication between me and the minister, which we also shared on our platform, and we know the contents. What the minister wrote to Right Honorable Speaker, really, I have told you what the Speaker chose to communicate to me as her representative in the chair. Said, and I don't know why that would make you angry, whether the Speaker should have talked to you.
This is the committee, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, she had written to you formally.
Can we give a chance to
attaching
other
the
colleagues?
letter she received.
Sechi.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you.
Colleagues, I think our rules of procedure are very clear, and Chair, as you stated, when you sit in that chair, you sit on behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker, and all the decisions that are taken, we are bound as a House, which is presided over by the Right Honorable Speaker. So I think it was in order that the Right Honorable Speaker should call you, the Chair, and
Which she did.
yes, share, and which you have also shared with us. And honorable colleagues, Rule 199 is very clear, that actually a committee shall stick to the matter or the bill before it. I would implore our colleagues that we look at this, and then for future interactions with the ministry, candidly, we would require the CDF to come and listen and also talk to this committee.
Honorable
That
Chair.
will be my position.
Honorable Chair, more
And I implore
clarification.
you that we
In our rules of procedure, Rule 86, order in the House. Decision of the Speaker or Chairperson. The Speaker or the Chairperson of the committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules or order in the House or committee. The decision of the Speaker or Chairperson on any point shall not be open to appeal or shall not be reviewed by the House, except upon a substantive motion made after the notice. Honorable Chair, what you are saying is right. It is under your mandate. You are in the position of the Speaker. And once you rule on any issue, no one can question about your ruling. Thank you.
Thank you. And there are also, if you are that.
And Mr. Chair, that is Rule 86. We are.
No, read
Because the-
Rule 199.
And remember, can't quote a rule that is.
No,
Say
read Rule 199, where a committee must restrict itself to matters before it.
Chair.
Chair,
Chair.
Chair, if we go deep,
Mr. Chairman.
No. I haven't given you a chance. If you know, you are a senior colleague here. If you want to point, you raise it, and I give you a chance, you raise it. As far as I'm concerned, honorable colleagues, I have made myself clear. I've made a ruling. We have business before us as a committee. If you are dissatisfied with my ruling, Honorable Sochikubo, you know what to do. It's not stopping us from moving forward. You can appeal. As far as I'm concerned, I'm now funked as official. Can we go to next?
Chair.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chair, the procedure I'm rising on is for the members to mislead this sitting, this committee.
Members.
Yes, Honorable K in particular. To say that you are here in the capacity of the Speaker. Number two, you can communicate with the Speaker, and the Speaker makes a decision before this committee when she's not seated in this meeting. Mr. Chairman.
I have made my
Yes,
my
the
ruling.
procedure I'm raising,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you are the one in the chair.
Thank you.
You are the one interfacing between, leading the committee to interface with the ministry. Mr. Chairman, there were reasons why the meetings could not take place on Friday, Mr. Chairman, and pushed to Monday. Mr. Chairman, in view of that, can we be helped
Yes.
Can
Honorable.
we be helped as a committee to know the fate of the issues we raised? Certainly, the speaker who wasn't in this meeting cannot by herself direct the committee chair
Honorable
on matters
Sechifubo.
before this committee. We are not an extension of the speaker, right, Honorable Mr. Chairman. We are fully constituted as a committee for you to take a decision as a committee, then you can report to the big house.
Can I,
But not to the
can I now
person.
make a decision that you demand?
To that extent, Mr. Chairman, when the speaker called, did she give you the answers as to what we demanded for in the first place, that we interface with the CDF? If not, did the speaker attach the letter from the minister and writing to you so that we can share as your members to know what is the fate of the issues we raised, Mr. Chairman? Is the speaker waiving your powers? Is the speaker taking away the powers of this committee to demand for accountability from the witnesses before us, Mr. Chairman?
You are even not asking for accountability, Honorable Sechifubo.
The word
Okay, can
accountability is complex.
Excuse me.
Accountability
You have made
is
your
for
point.
them to
You have made your point.
Yes.
Yes, Honorable. But I need to rule on a procedure raised by Honorable Sechifubo. And I think, colleagues, let us not. I have already made myself very clear. I have made my ruling. I said Honorable Sechifubo's matters that he's raising are pertinent, but they can better be addressed when we are handling the UPDF amendment bill that addresses powers of the CDF, powers of, and the structure of the UPDF. I said today we are handling matters relating to the budget framework paper, and we have a deadline to hit. And I have made myself, I said the decision I'm making is because I'm in the chair. Honorable Commander, unless you have something different, as far as I'm concerned, we should, yes.
Mr. Chair, before Honorable comes, made a wild allegation and quoted my name, Honorable Chair. I wanted you to take a ruling on that. Yet I was based in our
The rules of procedure.
Is it really in order to say I am...
Honorable Keyo cited Rule 199. Yes, I am in the chair, Sechifubo. Which rule are you citing?
You are reading him the rules. Honorable Keyo cites the rule 109.
199 too.
Honorable Chair was very clear. Under Rule 199, which says the committee shall strictly so on the matter or bill before it. That was very clear.
Thank you. Honorable Kahonda, and we move forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the concerns of my colleagues. And especially regarding this particular matter. We all agreed on Friday, and the chair communicated the same. We are now here to consider the budget framework paper. Regarding the issues that we had raised, Chair, you were very elaborate on the answers. Because the answer may not be from the minister, may not be from the deputy CDF or whoever. But considering the matter that we are handling today, the budget framework paper, the issues and the concerns that we may be having regarding the budget framework paper, they could be addressed to the minister or probably to the office of the CDF. And the CDF is not an individual. The CDF is an office where I think that the office of the CDF, in case of any clarification, that it should be in position to clarify. Chair, you can see we are taking a lot of time going here and there. We are time bad. Yes, Mr. Chairman, why I'm saying so, the issues that we are raising, they are personal issues. If they are official issues regarding the operations of the UPDF, the office of the UPDF is in position to explain, and not only the office of the PDF, the UPD, the CDF. That's why the minister has, in accompaniment of all these generals, accompanying him to help him probably explain any other matter that may come up before this committee. Chair, I'm of the opinion that we really proceed. For the 8 years I have spent on this committee, I have not seen this happening, because we have had cases where even the senior minister is not present, and we accept the presentation from the state minister.
Thank you, Honorable Kahonda, for that item number 4.
Procedure, Chair.
Agenda item.
Procedure, Chair.
Procedure, Honorable Nyeko.
Chair, on Friday,
Yes.
under our rules, 174, it clearly states that we have a right to summon any individual.
Correct.
And on Friday, we did summon
Yes.
the CDF. On Friday, we did summon the CDF. There were clear summons that you gave to the minister. Right, Chair, in one of the CDF's communication, he clearly demanded immediately he needed $1 trillion to be allocated to UPDF. And this is what we are talking about.
Part of, is it part of the
no,
presentation?
Chair, but it is official communication from his handle. And we are talking of a budget. At the end of the day, who is going to be credited for this achievement?
So the CDF communicates to you, official on X.
At the end of the day, is the deputy CDF going to be in charge of this achievement, or it is going to be the CDF who communicates through his X handle, directing members of the committee to allocate $1 trillion to the UPDF? Chair, our demands were clear. We need the CDF. We are not clones in this committee. We are sober-minded members, and the issues we are raising are issues of budget as well, not only X, but these are clear demands that the CDF has chose other channels to communicate, and the minister communicated to the speaker, not to us. So, Chair, it is our humble request, Chair, that we do not be underlooked as an institution.
What's your procedure? What's your point of procedure?
Chair, the procedure is that we are not proceeding right.
Because what's your point of procedure?
Yes, Chair, that is what I'm concluding on. Because, because we made a summon on
What's
Friday.
your point of procedure?
Chair, my procedure issue is that we are not proceeding right without the CDF here.
What's your point of procedure?
Are we proceeding well?
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Nyeko, clear we are proceeding well.
Chair.
Excuse me, Honorable Abdallah Chuanuka. First of all,
I will introduce myself in that direction, but Honorable Chair, yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. I have not given you permission. And you know that in Parliament it is wrong to grab a microphone when you have not been.
Proceeding. Honorable Chair, for no reason, because you are protecting the other side. I'm honest about that, Honorable Chair. Kindly, we can retreat before we can proceed. We kindly request, Honorable Chair, we first retreat.
No. What is your point?
Honorable Chair, you seem to be protecting the other side.
Honorable Abdallah Chuanuka, I am protecting all sides.
Honorable Chair, I'm requesting that we first retreat.
That is not acceptable.
Motion.
Motion.
Chair, I therefore move a motion that we have an in-house meeting before we proceed.
I have not even asked for secondment. Say, Chief.
Chair, there is a substantive motion on the floor.
Okay.
But to me, why you are seeing all this controversy, there has not been a statement from you as to what falls with the questions raised by members. When is the CDF appearing before the committee? You've not raised that question.
So why don't you let the minister answer?
In clear terms.
So, Honorable Sechiku, So why don't you let the minister answer?
Then put it to him. He's busy enjoying his phone, and for you are laboring on his behalf.
So, Honorable Sechikubo, agenda item number 4, presentation.
Procedures, yeah, we have a motion on.
Honestly, Honorable Chair, you can see even yourself. We're moving a motion or not supporting. Honorable Chair, I'm in support of the motion.
Thank you. Taken. Under the circumstances, honorable colleagues, there is absolutely no need, and hear me out. You have not, the minister could be going to address all these matters. Can you let him make a presentation and you raise matters of clarifications? You need to hear about it. He could be having a communication.
Yeah, this is a procedural issue.
You who chaired the meeting.
I have made my communication clear. So, of the ministry, the head of the ministry is here. Can he make his presentation? Then Honorable Suchko will say, excuse me, Honorable Minister, this budget you are raising, this and that, what about this? Is that not how it's supposed to be? Sure. Thank you.
Chair,
No, do you know what he's going to present?
My effort is to help you not to look a bigger clown. When this parliament, you rightly called off the meeting on Friday, you stated the clear reasons for
So
that.
can you let the minister respond?
I'm coming to that, Mr. Chairman. When we come here and we indeed look on and we proceed, we shall be the worst clowns you ever have.
I thought,
And it would have qualified the statement that indeed we are that. So once we are formal and we adjourned formally with issues on table, in one way or the other, let them be addressed so that you can lead your committee forward. But the issues we raised and forced the adjournment of the meeting on Friday have not been responded to. If the minister was kind enough and wrote to the speaker, for us as a committee, we don't know what they communicated.
thank you. So why don't you let him communicate?
But this is our docket. This is our staff. The speaker cannot sit wherever she is to rule on a matter before this committee.
I have said, I have made a ruling as chair on this by what I listened. Is that
Okay, what is it now? Tell
But
us.
yeah, we demand that. That is why we called for an in-house meeting, because we
And the
demanded
motion is
that
on
as
the
members
floor.
of
The
this
motion is on
committee.
the floor. Honorable Chair.
procedure?
You are satisfied alone.
Excuse me. Procedure?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have had situations where we have issues of concern to be answered by the agency. And we have set the space here where we receive the presentation and then at the end we raise any other issue related to the agency. Wouldn't it be procedurally right that we receive the presentation, because we when you look at our rules of procedures, we were supposed actually to have finished and made our report by yesterday.
Thank you.
So wouldn't it be procedurally right that we receive the presentation and then at the end we raise any other issue
Order,
to
order,
be,
order,
to
order,
be
order, Honorable
responded
Chair.
to by the ministry?
Order, Honorable Chair. When he's
He's raising a point of procedure, so don't come in like that. You'll be given a chance, but don't behave.
a motion, honestly, before a motion.
Procedure, I thought procedure stands on tall. Conclude, Honorable Kahonda.
Where I'm suggesting that we receive the presentation from the agency regarding the budget framework paper, then any other emerging issue, let it be operational, let it be anything, can be raised at the end of the presentation. Because we need to report to the budget committee regarding this matter.
And today.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Chair.
Abdallah, you again keep repeating yourself. Honorable Nyeko put up a motion, isn't it? Yeah. So, Absolutely. So why don't you let me conclude it? That was procedure. That was procedure. Unless you have forgotten your rules of procedure. Honorable Minister and your team, before I make this ruling, which I'm certainly going to make and now, I request that you give us 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Thank you. On behalf of the committee, and you know well that we are time barred. It is, yes, you could go to responses straight, but it's important that as a ministry, you apprise us on the status. So you, a team leader, give us a summary of the state of affairs, then the technical people take us through numbers.
We have plenary today, and I would suggest that other communications can be made on any other meeting that we shall have.
Any other matter that may
yes,
arise.
we go straight to the issue that brought.
I am convinced by Honorable Sevikari's view, considering the time that we have for us, and yes, we have. Can we go to responses?
Thank you very much. And to do this on behalf of the ministry, I would want to ask Madam Rosette Yengoma, the PS, to take us through the responses and the submission. Thank you.
Members of the committee, like the minister said, I'm going to present responses to the issues that were raised by your committee. And in your opening remarks, Mr. Chairman, you pointed out the areas that are covered in your questions, and these are the specific areas that I'm going to respond to. So, Mr. Chairman, I think each member has a copy of our responses, and starting with page 2, sorry, of our responses, we have the mandate of the ministry, which is generic, because every time we come here, we give the mandate and the vision. So I'm not going to go over those again. Yes. Now, getting to strategic objectives, in the 5-year planning period of the 4th National Development Plan, which is going to run from 25-26 to 29-30, the ministry will contribute directly objective of strengthening good governance, security, and the role of the state in development. And in doing that, the ministry will achieve governance and security programs objectives. One will be strengthening the capacity of security agencies to address security threats and emergencies. Number 2 will be strengthening administrative, legal, institutional, and coordination capacity for governance and security. So those are the objectives. Now, coming to the responses on issues raised, issue number 1 of the issues that was raised was on budget performance for financial year 24-25, and we were requested to provide a detailed account on the performance of the budget financial year 24-25 by half year. And this is supposed to be presented by sub-program, output, department, and line item. This is how we are supposed to present this response. So the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs budget falls under the Governance and Security Program. And by end of December 2024, we had used 1.7 trillion shillings. And it was spent as categorized below in the table, which is on the next page, page 4. And here we have the program, which is governance and security, and the sub-program, security. The sub-program has national defense and policy and planning. That is under the Ministry of Defense. Now, under the departments for national defense, we have force and land forces. So for Air Force, the outputs under Air Force, which is Air Defense Capability Services, is to improve staff welfare and logistical support to security personnel. So for improved staff welfare, we are looking at medical allowances, decent burial, etc. Several things under the welfare of the staff. And under still the Air Defense Capability Services, we have logistical support to security personnel. And you are looking at food, you are looking at fuel, you are looking at maintenance of the equipment, and so forth. So, national defense, Air Force, we spent 24.163 billion shillings. Still under national defense, like I had said, there is land forces, and under land forces, the output there is improved staff welfare, like in Air Force, and here it includes wage, and under wage, I'm sure you are aware that recently we had wage enhancement for the forces. Logistical support to security personnel and enhanced technical capacity, which is looking at training, like specialized training as well, acquisition of equipment, etc. And for land forces, and for the outputs that I have already enumerated, we spent 1.120 trillion shillings. Still under the sub-program, we have policy, planning and support services, and mainly the civilian part of the ministry is catered for under this area. And in the departments, we have Department of Finance and Administration. So this carries out administrative support services, including, handling the wage, the arrears, IRMIS, which is Integrated Resource Management Information System, international obligations, NEC, and air cargo. They fall under this area. For the output, we also have financial management system. We have planning, budgeting, and monitoring and evaluation reports developed. We have law and policies developed and reviewed, and rehabilitation and integration services. This is the area where our veterans are catered for. If you go to page 5, we are continuing with the policy, planning, and support services. Same department, so the outputs here again continuing. There is productive activities of the UPDF enhanced, and this is referring to NEC, to Uganda Air Cargo Corporation, and to CPW. Still under the outputs, we have capital development. Under capital development, we are looking at classified procurements, construction, land, and vehicles. So by mid-year 24-25, we had spent 398.734 billion shillings. And below that, we have ATMIS. ATMIS, this is what transited from AMISOM, our involvement in Somalia, where we are doing like peacekeeping services there. So under ATMIS, we got 76.54 billion shillings. Total expenditure for half year 24-25 is at 1.799.203 trillion shillings. So in the financial year 24-25, the ministry's approved budget was 4.754 trillion shillings. And as at half year 24-25, whereas the ministry expected a release of 2.4 being the half of the approved budget of 4.7, 1.8 trillion shillings was released. And this, of course, affected the full implementation of the ministry plans, especially under the area of capital development and ATMIS. So of the released budget, 1.7 trillion was spent, implying 98% absorption. So whatever was released, we spent slightly lower than what we were given, 1.8, and we spent 1.799 trillion. So the table 2 on the next page will show you the breakdown of the budget performance as at half year 24-25. The table shows the item, the approved budget, expected release, actual release, percentage released, expenditure, and percentage expended. So under wage, the approved budget is 1.266 trillion. And we expected to get 633.427 billion shillings as half release, as at half year. So the actual release was expected, and we are saying it's 100% release, that is of the half budget. And the expenditure was slightly lower, which is 633,215,401,030, which is 99.9%. On non-wage, looking at headquarters, which we normally refer to as Program 1, 270 billion shillings 27.5 was approved as budget for the year. Of that, we expected a release of 179,411, and this is what was released. And it was slightly higher than what would have been the half year, and the expenditure was 173.771 billion shillings, translating into a percentage of 96.9%. Here to note is that more than 50%, and reason here was the gratuity and all domestic areas were released in full. So this is why we have a higher percentage compared to the other items. Higher meaning it's more than 50% of the budget. Land forces, which is program 2, the approved budget of land forces is 1,031,000,000,3, and the expected release here was 515.6 billion shillings, and we received 510.416 billion shillings. So the percentage released here was 98.9%. And the expenditure was 487.7 billion shillings, which is 95.6% expenditure of the released money. Under Air Force, which is program 3, the approved budget was 54.2 billion. Expected release, half of that, 27.2. Actual release was 27.2. Release percent, 100% of year, and expenditure here was 24.163 billion, translating to 88.8%. Under capital, approved budget 1.8 trillion, expected release 936.5 billion shillings, but the actual release here was 400.6 billion shillings, which was 42.7%. And of the released money, 398.7 billion, which is 99.5%, was spent. On arrears, we expected, approved budget was 5.4 billion, and this is what was released in total, and which is 100%, and the expenditure was 4.9, which is 91.9%. And mainly the reason here was couldn't spend everything much as arrears because of the documents that are normally provided for finance to the Ministry of Finance account section to pay. We didn't have all the documentation ready at that time, but this has also since been paid. Under ATMIS, we expected 253.2 billion shillings. Like I said, ATMIS is what transited from, and we expected a release of 126 but the actual release was 76.5, and this is 60.4%, and that's what we spent. So according to expenditure of the released money, we spent 99.8, but the release was 60.4, reason being this money sometimes trickles in. We don't control, or government of Uganda doesn't. We receive, as we receive, then we spend. Grand total of approved budget is 4.754 trillion. We expected 2.4 trillion as a, but the actual release was 1.8 trillion. And percentage released was 75.6, and the expenditure on the percentage released was 98.2%. You can see that under the actual release, capital received almost less, it was less than a half. And about 500 billion was not released on time. So that's an area that affected now the totals down there. Now, the details of the performance, I don't know whether you want me to go through the details, but we provided the details. I can continue? So I don't have to. Okay. So I'm saying that the details of the performance are attached in Annex A, which is half year's budget performance. And then in Annex B, we are giving the physical performance. What is it that we did in the half budget of 24-25? Since I have been excused from presenting the detail, I'll continue to issue number 2. Under issue number 2, budget projections for 25-26 and the medium term, we've been asked to provide the implications of the proposed budget allocations for financial year 20 and the medium term allocations in relation to addressing the NDP4 PIAP indicators, stroke areas, and we are supposed to do this by putting it under sub-program, vote function, and department. So the table is following that format, the table 3. So in response, the ministry's priorities for financial 25-26 are aligned to the NDP4 priorities, and Uganda shillings 4.3. This is trillion, has tentatively been allocated to the ministry and is broken down into wage, non-wage, and development. So under 3, we are showing vote function, department, PIAP indicators, stroke areas, the item, the budget for the financial year 25-26, and then under MTEV, financial year 26-27, 27-28, 28-29, and 29-30. Now, under national defense, we have Air Force. And under Air Force, the PIAP indicators are the proportion of security equipment acquired Specialized Air Force training. How many people have we, trained under Air Force? You're talking of maintenance of equipment, you're talking of pilots, etc. Then, still under Air Force, we are looking at logistical support as a PIAP indicator. How much have you provided for Air Force in terms of logistics? Welfare for Air Force personnel and their families. Now, under the item non-wage for Air Force, for the financial year 25-26, shillings 54.283 billion has been provided. And going into MTF, the financial year 26-27, still the same amount of money has been provided under MTF, and so is 27-28, and in financial year 28-29, we expect to get 92.283 billion shillings, and financial year 29-30, the same amount. Going over the page, land forces and PIAP indicators. We are first of all looking at the welfare, which is wage. Here, under wage, the budget for the financial year 25-26 is 1.2 trillion. And for financial year 26-27, it's going to go up to 1.328 trillion shillings. And the following year, it's also going up 1.394, 28-29, 1.4 trillion, 29-30, 1.5 trillion. And of course, we have been implementing enhancement of pay for the soldiers, so I think to cut across all these years. Now, still under welfare, we are looking at, as an indicator, proportion of security equipment acquired, number of personnel recruited, number of personnel trained, value of logistical support. And this is non-wage. So for non-wage, under land forces, financial year 25-26, we are getting 859.328 billion shillings. And 26-27, the figure is going up to 1 trillion, 27-28, 1 trillion, 93, 28-29, 1.7 trillion, and 29-30, 2.2 trillion shillings. You can see that along the years, the figures are going up. Under policy, planning and support services, which is another vote function, the department is finance and administration, and the PIAP indicators here are number of pensions, gratuity, and backlog cases cleared, and here under non-wage, 270 billion, 0.568 is provided in 25-26, 282.517 billion is provided under financial year 27-28, 28-29. They are providing 685.7 billion shillings, and 29-30, 695.5 billion shillings. Still under welfare support services, we still have MODVA, the Ministry of Defense, engagement in productive activities. And here we are looking at NEC, Uganda Yakago, maintenance of equipment, transport, ICT, administrative support services. All these fall under the non-wage that I had already talked about. And I've also given you the indicators in that area. And again, still more indicators through provision of transport, ICT, administrative and support services. And retooling of MODVA and classified equipment. Now, under these areas of retooling MODVA and classified equipment, this is part of development budget, capital development budget. And the figure here provided in the budget for 25-26 is 1,642.927 shillings. What we are expected to get next financial year, and in the financial year 26-27 up to 29-30, we put there 00 because we can't predict how much we are likely to get then. So in the total, grand total, under PIAP, sorry, the PIAP indicators and the amount of money provided, financial year 25-26, the grand total will be 4.3 trillion shillings. 26-27, 4.4. 27-28, 5 trillion. 28-29, 6.2 trillion. 29-30, 7.2 trillion shillings. Yeah, but in spite of the provision that I have already, given, the ministry has a challenge of shortfalls. And table 4 gives those shortfalls item by item. So the item of wage, the required amount is 1.6 trillion shillings. The allocation, however, is 1.2 trillion. And the shortfall here is 358.7 billion shillings. The money required here under wage is salary for 10,000 recruits who are currently undergoing training, and for enhancement of professional allowances, and along the, of course, you have promotions, so it also covers the promotion effect and the salary enhancement for the lower cadres. Under pension and gratuity, the requirement was 337.2. Allocation is 210.8. Shortfall 126.4 billion. And the money, the shortfall, the 126, is required for enhancement of pensions for veterans. That is once the bill goes through. And yeah, and retirement in financial year 25-26. Now, under pension backlog, the required amount was 30.8 billion shillings. We didn't get anything on this item, so there is that shortfall, the same amount. And for us to clear pension and gratuity backlog arrears, we need this money. Under medical expenses, we needed 99.9 billion shillings. Half of that was given, 44.5, almost half. And the shortfall is 55.4. And the reason why we need this money is because of increased strength and the requirement of providing medical treatment to veterans as well. We are now supporting veterans medically. But even on top of that, much as our money is specifically for Ministry of Defense and medical, we still treat the 1 inch within 8 kilometers radius, but of late it has even gone beyond 8 to 50. So we cater for civilians as well. Now on formal education,
that treatment is free of charge?
Yes.
So you're saying where we have UPDF barracks and therefore a health facility, apart from treating veteran, UPDF and veterans, you also treat civilians free of charge. What radius?
So it's supposed to be 8 kilometers. Is it 8? But now it has gone beyond.
Will that policy apply with the Mbuya Military Referral Hospital?
No.
That's a topic for another day.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So on formal education, we needed 2 billion. We got only 1. The allocation is 1 billion. And the shortfall there is another 1 billion. And the money is needed for equipping science and computer labs, libraries, and also to procure lab reagents and scholastic materials. Under Defense Forces shop, we needed 20 billion. We got 8. That's the allocation in the BFP. And a shortfall is 12. And as you are aware, Chairman, capitalization of Defense Forces really is very critical, much as we have tried our best to open up some shops across the country. We haven't covered all the areas yet. And the shop basically is to improve the welfare of the troops by providing more essential items and, like I said, increasing outlets so that we are nearer to the people that we are serving. And logistical support, item of logistical support, the required amount will start with foodstuffs is 482.3 billion. The allocation is 220. The shortfall is 261.8. So the shortfall of 261 is broken down as follows. Uganda shillings 172 billion is supposed to be the ministry's food budget and it is supposed to be increased by that in financial year 24-25. However, this didn't happen. In this year, it didn't happen. So next year, we are still carrying forward the same request. Uganda shillings 89.8 billion is required next financial year to cater for increased strength, because like I said, we have 10,000 troops that are currently undergoing training, and next year they'll come on board, so they'll need feeding, they'll need dressing, they'll need all the logistical requirements that we avail other troops that are already on board. So there will also be new recruitment of an extra 10,000 personnel. So this is why the food budget will be going up. Under fuel, this fuel covers all services, land forces, air force, etc. The required amount is 197.1, the allocation is 120.9, the shortfall is 76.2 billion shillings. And the reason why we want this money is because there is increased acquisition of equipment over the years without the budget going up. Increased training on specialized equipment, warming of specialized equipment, and increased operations. When we talk of warming, you can't leave the equipment just there idle. You have, like cars, sometimes if you buy a car, you have to start it every morning so that it's warmed. So in this particular case, the equipment also require such a special attention. And when you warm, the fuel also is consumed. And increased operations as well. So, okay, under closing, we needed 200.9 billion shillings. The allocation is 94.8, and the shortfall is 106.1 billion shillings. And the change in the quality and design of uniforms. Yeah, there is likely to be change in the uniform that the UPDF is using currently because of quality and design issues. Now, under transport equipment, these are vehicles, etc. 43.1 was required, and here we are given 3.1. Reason that we need the 40, which is a shortfall, to beef up several formations and units with troop carriers and command vehicles. Mr. Chairman, our troops need more troop carriers and command vehicles to support them in the operations that they are carrying out. Now, maintenance of equipment, we required 89.8. We have 18.6 allocated, shortfall of 71.2. And again here it is increased level and volume of equipment that cannot be maintained in the current funding levels, and adequate maintenance, of course, lengthens the asset's lifespan and lowers the risk of breakdown and increases efficiency. Maintenance of aircraft. Oh, sorry. Yeah. For aircraft, 44.3 billion is required. We have 16.8 as allocated and a shortfall of that. And the remarks that I made cover both vehicles and aircraft as well. Now on travel abroad, we needed 9.7, and we got the allocation of 5.5 and 4.2 as a shortfall. I know across government this is an area that has been contentious, but for defense really, this money caters for regional obligations, it caters for pre-shipment inspections, because whatever equipment we get, you have to send a team to first look at the equipment before it is shipped to us. It caters for training abroad, because we get offers, and of course we can't, there are some specialized training where we have to send our people abroad, so we have to pay for that from this specific item. And then the travels for diplomacy, where you have sister forces visiting, and you also have to travel there. But at the same time, we also have defense attaches that are accredited to different, embassies and high commissions, and their travels are also catered under this. Maintenance of classified assets, we required 255.2. The allocation is 154, so there is a shortfall of that. Like I said, these are very expensive items, so they need constant maintenance. And the maintenance, especially in terms of spares, is very expensive. So this is why we're asking for that extra funding. Now, capital development, we are looking at medical equipment. The money required here is 55.7. We got 0.6 billion. And here we have a shortfall of 55.1 billion shillings. This money is for equipment for the UPDF National Referral Hospital, which is supposed to open soon. And this is a contractual obligation. So we are getting this money from the remittances of AMISOM. But
excuse me, as you present, honorable colleagues and our visitors, kindly have a cup of tea, or we are also good hosts.
So here we needed 41.2, we have 26.3 as an allocation, and the shortfall is 14.9 billion. So UPDF still continues to undertake operations in DRC against CDF. So the additional funding requirements will food, fuel, medical administration, and maintenance of the equipment. Another operation is Karamoja, Usalama kwa wote. Here we needed 46.8 billion shillings. We have been allocated 23.7, so there is a shortfall of 23.1 billion shillings. So the UPDF here is still continuing its operations in Karamoja, and this money is supposed to cover feeding, fuel, maintenance of equipment, scenic activities, and operation fund. I'm sure in Karamoja there is some usalama of some nature of late, because security has at least improved. So more funding definitely would lead to total elimination of insecurity in Karamoja. Now on election security, elections are coming in soon, so here we need to protect all of you, members of parliament, during this period. And the required amount is 138.4 billion shillings. The shortfall, we didn't get anything, so the shortfall is still 138.4 billion shillings. And this is for purposes of providing logistical and operational requirements of UPDF while securing the 2026 general elections. Under production, we have Uganda Air Cargo Corporation, and it needed 381 billion shillings. Nothing has been provided, basically for capitalization of Uganda Air Cargo in line with the cabinet directive. Cabinet directed, but Uganda Air Cargo has never received this money. National Enterprises Corporation NEC required 15.5. The allocation in the budget is 9.4 and a shortfall of 6.1 billion shillings. And mainly this money is required to address research and development under Rural Industries and headquarter shortfalls. If Rural Industries specializes in this area, for sure we are going to reduce on the money that we spend on importing classified equipment. I think you have seen their buses, several things that Rural Industries is doing, armored vehicles. So that is an area that requires serious input. The subtotal here is 396, and that is under Uganda Air Cargo and Rural Industries, National Enterprises Corporation. And of that, only 9.4 is availed in the allocation in the budget. So we still have that shortfall of 387.2 billion shillings. Under Police and Administration, there is the management of veteran affairs, and we had requested for 21.6. Only 2.4 is in the budget and a shortfall of 19.2. This is an item that even appeared in the last financial year, this financial year. And this money has not come out, yet it is urgently required. Now, compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. Again, that total requirement was 26 billion, and we received 5 billion. No, 21 is the shortfall, because we didn't get anything at all on that item. Compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. Required is 21. Yeah. But initially, it was 26. We got 5 billion. So the balance on that requirement is that 21, which is not provided for in the budget. No, because in this year it's only 21 because we have already offset the 5. Yeah, so it can't appear here. Yeah. Over the page, we have the upgrade of integrated resource management system. This is a system that has been handling the payment of wages, etc. in the ministry. And now on top of that, we want to add logistics management. And we need 40 billion shillings, but in the allocation it is 0. So the shortfall is still 40. And like I had said, it's for upgrading that system which is in existence to host logistics and pension management systems. Under third-party compensation and quota awards, the required is 29.3, allocation is 2.8, shortfall 26.5. So here we need, under governance security program objectives, it is to strengthen the capacity of security agencies to address security threats and emergencies. So under the Ministry of Defense priorities, financial year 25-26 and the medium term, we are talking of enhancement of UPDF capability and capacity. So the output under that priority will be technical capability enhanced. And of this, we need a budget of 1.8 trillion shillings. This has some classified component. And also, under the same priority, there is capacity of UPDF enhanced. And this refers to recruitment and training. And the budget for 25-26 here is 23 billion 152 million 14,978 Uganda shillings. Now the second priority here under Ministry of Defense 25-26 is improving welfare of UPDF personnel. And here we are looking at the output being payment of salaries, which is 1.266 trillion shillings, housing of UPDF personnel and their families improved, which is 61.6 billion shillings, healthcare services of UPDF personnel and their families enhanced, 45.1 billion shillings, Defense Forces shop supported 8 billion, and then another priority still under Ministry of Defense is provision of combat services support. This is logistical support. So here we are looking at provision of food, fuel products, clothing, utilities, maintenance of equipment, operations, transport, among other services. And here we need, the budget that we have put here is 582 billion 832 million 544,740. Over the page 20, another priority is engagement in productive services or activities. So the ministry's engagement in productive services as an output is supposed to be enhanced. And here we are looking at the NEC, which gets about 2 billion support on salaries. And then Uganda Cargo 5.5, giving a total of 7.5 billion shillings. The next priority is building a vibrant and productive military veterans society. And the output here is providing pensions and gratuity, and then resettlement and integration of the veterans. And the amount of money provided here is 213.1 billion shillings. Another priority is to undertake research and development, and the output is research and development enhanced, and the 7.4 billion shillings you are seeing there is mainly for oil industries. Now, under the GSP objectives, there is strengthening the administrative, legal, institutional, and coordination capacity for governance and security. And here the output is policy, planning, administrative, and support services enhanced. And the monies allocated under this specific priority is 44.5 billion shillings. So there is also now,
Madam PS.
Yes, please.
You know, you did well by highlighting.
So it's 4.3 trillion shillings. Now we go to issue number 4, alignment to the budget strategy, financial year 25-26. You're asking us to illustrate the vote alignment with objectives and the budget strategy for financial year 25-26. So the budget strategy we had already highlighted agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based industrial development, including oil and gas, science, technology, innovation, and knowledge economy. And ours is sustaining peace and security, macroeconomic stability, as well as strengthening governance and public sector efficiency. Now, Motiva contributes majorly to that area of sustaining peace and security. So in order to achieve this priority, the ministry has identified a number of priorities, and these are in table 6. Strategy 1, the priority area is sustaining peace and security, macroeconomic stability, governance and public sector efficiency. Priorities here is enhancement of UPDF capability and capacity, and the key interventions. Should I go through them? I can jump. Okay. So the key interventions are there. So under priority number 2, improving welfare of UPDF personnel, again, the key interventions are there. Provision of combat services support. Again, we have the key interventions there in the document. Then engagement in productive activities. We have Uganda Cargo Corporation. And we have the key interventions. National Enterprises Corporation also. Again, we have the key interventions in that document. And yeah. Then building a vibrant and productive military veteran society. The details are there as key interventions. Then undertaking infrastructure development. We have the key interventions there. And this goes overboard to page 27. So undertaking research and development is another priority for the ministry. And we have key interventions. Another one is promoting and maintaining defense diplomacy. This is, maybe I can go through this. Peacekeeping operations, participating in joint training military exercises, supporting and contributing to international obligations, deployment of defense attachés. So those are the interventions. Institutional coordination is another priority. So implementation of UPDF Amendment Act 2024. And more interventions over the page 28. This takes me to issue number 5, budget discipline, demonstrate efforts in allocating resources to supplementary prone expenditure areas. So here the ministry budget allocation is 4.3 trillion, but it remains inadequate to address a number of supplementary prone expenditure areas, which are mainly wage, pension, gratuity, food, fuel, medical expenses, clothing, and classified procurements. Now here the ministry's supplementary, in table 7 we are showing the ministry's supplementary prone expenditure areas and the monies that has been allocated. So wage, the requirement is 1.625, the allocation is 1.266. So this is what has been allocated. But again, wage is, an area where there are shortages. And that's the shortage, I'm showing it there. Pension and gratuity, again, we gave it 210 against 337. Food, 220 against 482. So the shortfalls are there. So all these items that we put here are the budget prone shortage areas. And they are no, supplementary prone areas. Over the
Just for emphasis, honorable colleagues and honorable chair, we are very grateful that you asked this. These are areas which are well known in advance about the wage. The number is known. Pension is all related to the personnel. Gratuity. Food is based on the number. Fuel, medical expenses, clothing. These are all well known. We would not ordinarily be asking for supplementary. So when you see it, these are foreseeable, and it makes the ministry look so bad that every now and then we have a shortfall in this area. Just to emphasize that it's not that lack of planning. There's something that this committee can help us to find out why do we get supplementary in areas that you already know. That you have this number of soldiers, they will need clothing, they will need food, they will need pension, they will need salary. Just to emphasize. Yes, go.
Honorable colleagues, the structure of this presentation is the effect that the areas for concern, starting from our previous interaction with them. We want to know budget performance, we want to know responses on audit, we want to know So it actually highlights our concern in advance. And I'm happy the presentation is responding to each and every concern highlighted. However, honorable colleagues might have other points for clarification, for example, in which case I can give them a chance to do that. But otherwise, the presentation is really spot on, is self-explanatory. Again, you have planned, we have allocated. Our issue was where we have given you money, why have you not done what you are supposed to have done? And yes, so you took us through budget discipline, you took us through performance of the budget 2023-24, right? Our other concern is the stock of domestic areas. Very, very important, because it touches on our voters, it touches on accountability. Please take us through that. How come you don't pay people who supply you?
Thank you, Chair. In your question, how come we don't pay? The reason why we don't pay is because when we ask for funding, we normally get less than what we have asked for. And mainly when we ask for funding, extra funding, it is in those specific areas that are prone to supplementary. So if they are not addressed, definitely we still move on with dates. So this is the reason that we can't pay. Sorry. Now going to
yes, conclude.
Okay, to the response on domestic areas stock. Table 8, which is on page 31, shows the details. We have food bills, and this is an area that we pointed out that has issues and shortfalls. Here, financial year 2021-22, we are taking you back. We had, I think, a domestic area of 10.1 billion shillings. 22-23, this money was not cleared, and we incurred now another debt. And financial year 23-24, we are at 83 billion. We are at 83.6 billion shillings.
At this point, as I can see also vis-a-vis the plenary which is pending at 2, is it okay that we interject as she's moving?
Or on each and every item?
Yes, or
to reduce.
We wait as we have been waiting.
I think, again, I hear you when you raise the...
So I have a question on land compensation and belonging to parliamentary circle. Last time we did discuss it here at committee level, and even during plenary, the minister owned it and said they were going to handle it. Right Honorable Chair, in a situation where even the ministry does not honor the parliamentary circle and what belongs actually to a house that appropriates money, I wonder how it will honor other domestic areas of other entities. I want the minister to explain when are they paying this money to the parliamentary circle, totaling to 34 billion shillings, and what can be done.
Thank you.
How best can this committee help to actually handle that? Still on domestic areas, I think still on areas generally, there is money for veterans. Western Nile Bank Front, Amuka, and then Rwenzori. These people, there's a budget of 30 billion and zero allocation. Is this part of the priority areas for the ministry, really? We know how our veterans, they served this country, they played their role. Today they are living in a very unfortunate situation. Is it part of the priority
Priority.
areas in the ministry, really? And
Uh,
how
and
can this
yes.
committee and parliament help
Help.
them
Yes.
to have these people, especially West Nile Front Bank? These people are living in a terrible situation, embarrassing situation, and really it disappoints to see that these people who offer the service and
Thank
help
you.
to liberate this country are living in that state.
Thank you, Honorable Keyo. Although you have listed with Nile Bank Front, the Rwenzori, and there are other categories of veterans, of course. Even you, earlier years. And these honorable colleagues, these are our voters, it's not good to find them, people who offered their blood, who really, especially those that are disabled. So want to hear from you that it's very, very of great importance. Honorable Abdallah, then
2-3 years back,
arrears.
yeah, the president originated a communication directing the father of Muhoozi.
No, you are protected. This floor is yours, Honorable Abdallah.
Originated a communication directing the Ministry of Finance to immediately pay off all areas regarding water and electricity. And it was at that point that UPDF commenced installing solar and digging shallow water. How come that it's still here, yet they were cleared?
Okay. Okay, so now, thank you. I guess those are the concerns on domestic area stock. Any other matter?
So we now take on
Yes,
them.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'm concerned about the presentation by the ministry. In this financial year 25-26, Mr. Chairman, we are seeing a grand total of 4 trillion 356. Financial year 2025-2026. This is as juxtaposed with one of 2024, the outgoing financial year, whose budget is 4 trillion 754 billion. Mr. Chairman, we are witnessing increased demands and strain on the UPDF and the ministry. Yet the budget is going down. Increased engagements, more recruitment. Already there is the 10,000 under recruitment, but they expect another recruitment of another 10,000.
The 10,000 under training.
Yes, under training, and also they intend to recruit another 10,000. But the budget is not supporting this. What magic are you planning, Minister of Defense? Where will you get this? You are having good plans. You've led us through. But we know you can only do this through the budget. But the budget is dwindling. And yet we are going through an election year where you will have to safeguard the domestic and external challenges to the country. And even you are undertaking to realign and with the NDP. But the resources are not matching to that intention. So why are you not telling us the truth? How will you be able to do this? How will you be able to sustain this in view of the diminished budget, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Number two, and I know I leave to my colleagues, the salary enhancement. As the ministry, you've not told us how far you've gone with the salary enhancement of the lowest cadres, the officers and men of low ranks from private. And yet you had made an undertaking. And this is part of the welfare, this is part of the morale.
Honorable said, just supplement, it's not an undertaking. we actually last budget, Parliament passed that. Yes. So go on.
But they are not, we are not seeing how it was effected. Ordinarily, we would want to know how much is our private now being able to earn. To the sergeant, lieutenant, up to captain. Would be grateful to know that how you have undertaken and how you have indeed implemented that.
Thank you.
Lastly, very lastly from me, Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing you were planning for 213 billion, 118 million for pension and gratuity for veterans, resettled and reintegrated. Mr. Chairman, I want to draw the attention of the Deputy CDF and the attention of the Joint Chief of Staff that your officers down there are causing mayhem.
They are veterans.
Yes, there is one, General Emmanuel Rashande, and another one, Phinehas Katirima. They are involved in active politics, which is their right, having retired. But they are fighting even before the election period is on. They are causing havoc. I was involved on the 23rd of December.
Honorable Sechikubo,
yes.
you are creating an impression that the two officers are fighting against each other.
No, against the civilians whom they are supposed to protect and to lead by good example. Whereas it is their right to participate now in politics now that they are retired. But what they caused on the ground on the 23rd, Mr. Chairman, I was involved as the area member of parliament. And indeed, they were the ones who held a rally, a meeting of that kind, and were beating up people who were not agreeing with them. And this is not the discipline we have known of the UPDF, Mr. Chairman. Now that the two are here,
thank you.
May we get the assurances that this money they are demanding, the 213 billion, is not going in the hands of those who are not really adding production and development to the country, but are using it, and they are using this money, the army vehicles, the escorts they have, to intimidate and beat up people in the civilian life.
Thank you, Honorable Sechikubo. These are good concerns. Yes, Honorable Kahon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have two issues for clarification. One is on the budget performance for the half a year, where they have indicated that what was released was 1,833 billion, and what was spent was 1,799 million. And the performance percentage is 98.2%. When you look at what was released vis-a-vis what was spent, we have no explanation. We have no justification on the balance of the 33 billion. The percentage is low, including the wage. There is some balance on the wage. So we don't know how this came about. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, around the financial year, I think 2018, 17-18, government appropriated money to Ministry of Defense to install the solar project at Kororo. And we were convinced that this solar project would actually generate more money to government because they were supposed to sell it to the national grid. Up to today, when we are considering whenever we are considering either the budget framework paper or the ministerial policy statement for the entity, this does not come up, can we know what it has contributed to the economic growth of this country? Lastly,
of the implementation of the project.
yes. No, the implementation actually, the Kororo project, it was done, it was finished.
Okay.
We are now interested in knowing how much does it bring to the ministry or to government.
Thank you.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, is on pension and gratuity. I think this is where all of us as the members of parliament, where we need to interest ourselves. Yes, we enhanced salary for the UPDF. And it was done in bits, in percentages. Because much as one of us has asked about how far with the implementation, but I also recall that even majors, lieutenant colonels, it was done in percentages.
Phases.
In phases. It has not been fully implemented. So as they explained to Honorable Sechkubo's concern, then that should also be put into consideration. Because this...
just a rejoinder, and if implementation is in phases, and an officer at the rank of colonel retires, scale is not yet done, retires, what happens?
Yeah, actually, Chair, officers and men of UPDF, they are scheduled for retirement. They know when they are going. And if this is not done, then what is the effect to that officer or a soldier who has retired? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, this is to us as members of parliament. These officers and men, especially those who retire, they come back to us. And even those who are still serving, when you look at...
They are all candidates for retirement, anyway.
Yeah, they are all candidates for retirement. But when you look at what a soldier goes back home with, it is really a shame. I think it's high time that we actually quicken the process of the UPDF bill so that these veterans, these officers and veterans who are serving and those who have gone, really their issues are catered for. And now they have brought it at a very right time, where when the bill is with us, they have given us the projection, especially on pension and gratuity.
Yes.
I think it's high time that this particular budget item is well thought of when we are considering the budget for this financial year. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyeko. Markin, are you?
Yeah, I don't know whether I got my colleague right. Salaries of majors upwards and now from private to a captain. I don't think if it was in the wisdom of parliament that it should be done in phased manner. So I want the minister to put it categorically clear that for us here we said we enhance the salaries from a private to a captain. Where did the idea of the phased come?
Thank you. Honorable Nyeko.
On many occasions we have asked more elaborations on Operation Suja. And we see in their presentation that it has a downfall of 14.9 billion. And we have extended our operations in areas that were not presented before, including those areas that are being occupied by the M23. How are you operating and how many officers are we having on ground? Do they have enough resources? Do they have boots? And we seek more clarifications on our men in uniform that are in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyeko. Honorable Sevikari.
To page 23
of the presentation.
of the presentation.
there is some construction of house units and in Mbuya joined headquarters. Honorable Chair, I would like to know how much does each unit, if they are 700 and they need 20, sorry, it is page 14 and 16, but they need 23 billion, I think. No? Am I right? Go to page where there is construction, I think it is page, yes. I would like to know how much each unit costs, and if there is any construction of Mbuya joint headquarters, how much, so that we can know if, because they are saying across the country, and you know the cost of each unit differs from region to another. How did they, come to that figure?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Then two, Honorable Chair, in relation to what Honorable Nyoko said, talked about Operation Suja. Honorable Chair, would like to know, as members of the committee, a long-term procedure for this issue. When shall we end, that operation? Because are we going to remain at war for all the time? Even Karamoja itself, we are in NRM government that has existed for quite a long time, and Karamoja is a small part of Uganda. But how can we bring Karamoja to sanity in a long term?
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Abdara.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I wanted to know what the accounting officer is happening with this animal called Uzima. Year in, year
This
out.
animal, this.
Yes, because it is year in, year out, it is swallowing. We are injecting. For it is always in losses. What is the problem? Because we are injecting, other companies are running the same project smoothly and they are not at the low capacity like Uzima. But year in, year out, we are injecting in Uzima.
Honorable Abdara, is Parliament funding Uzima?
We are on the issue of injecting public funds. What is the problem?
How are we injecting it
Through
in?
NEC, and it is indicated in the presentation here. What is the problem? We are injecting money
Okay,
in
yeah.
Uzima.
Thank you.
Two, Mr. Chairman, I'm also aware that NEC started a security company. And it is nowhere anywhere
A
here.
private.
Yes. The way, because they already, what is happening? Because nothing is listed for it, we are not supporting it in any way, because total rate is not mentioned anywhere in the presentation. What is the problem? And lastly, as far as ITMIS is concerned, ATMIS? We thought that by the end of 2024, we are going to be forgetting about spending any money in Somalia, because we are supposed to close and our forces come back. But still, I'm seeing something that we are still going to be incurring expenses as far as facilitating the forces there. It is 1.7 now, 1.799. This is page.
Thank you.
Page 5.
I beg your pardon?
I was saying, Mr. Chairman, that this is a clown from Mukono posing as the MP of Mukono municipality. If what we see in the social media is anything to go by,
We closed that.
I'm so grateful that we are not arrested by now.
Honorable Chireke, we closed that.
No, I'm saying I'm so grateful
Thank you.
because Mr. Chairman, the last I saw in the social media was that you, as the leader of the clowns on this committee, are going to be arrested. And I'm saying I'm very grateful that we have not been arrested. So if you closed it, it's good, but it is, when something goes out, it is out. One time I was with Gen.Muhoozi on CBS radio, and he made some remarks, and after those remarks, he was imprisoned for years. I don't know if this is the same UPDF and that we are still moving using the same law and the same constitution, because these days we see people make remarks in the media.
Honorable Bachireke, Rule 199, let's restrict ourselves to the budget framework paper.
Mr. Chairman, that is within the budget, because this is the army we are funding, and I want to know which laws they are using. Are they still the UPDF that is provided for under the Constitution, or this is a completely new force? So, Mr. Chairman, the people of Mukono would like to get an assurance that really UPDF is still committed to moving by the Constitution of Uganda, especially in regard to the recent behavior of its commander.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, having said that, I want to make these few observations. I want to know for sure, is Uganda at war? If I go to Mukono and I'm addressing people, should I tell them that we are at war as a country, or we are in peace times? And if we are at war, when will these wars end? Every time we look at the budget, Mr. Chairman, we are funding UPDF over and above all other priorities of the country. And that should be very clear information coming from the army about its operations. 2, Mr. Chairman, that was a time when it was reported that we were attacked in Somalia. We waited because I've seen here value expenses, whatever. Never. We did not see UPDF converging for money and for values. I don't know what happened. Neither were we, even families. Some people don't know exactly where their children are. If your child, if your relative was deployed in Somalia, there was an attack, there was no information that came out in terms of saying that these are the names of the people who fell at the battleground in Somalia, these were the injured, nothing came out. We kept on waiting. So even the Parliament directed the minister to bring a statement on that matter. Up to now, that statement has never been issued, Mr. Chairman. And I wonder why the ministry and UPDF at that matter continue to deny this House information. 3, it's the issue of uniforms. Money here is being voted for uniforms, Mr. Chairman. But even if you look here, you will see so many shades of colors. And I would like to know if we could be given at least a list of the gazetted uniforms of UPDF, especially because people have been arrested from my party, tortured, sodomized. Yes. Paraded before the court martial with the claim that they have been putting on clothes which are a preserve of the UPDF. And what are these people putting on? A red overall? and they already kept. So I want to know for sure, what are the gazetted uniforms
That
of
is-
UPDF?
Yes, that's your question.
Yes. And then, Mr. Chairman, we do travel. We visit other countries. In fact, in some countries, there is a day which they call a combat day. And not necessarily the people putting on uniform of the army, but something similar. Because, you know, the army is supposed to be a people's army. But the vindictiveness, the cruelty being displayed by UPDF against the citizens of this country for putting on clothes, you know, that appear with camouflage shades, clothes that are imported and taxed as they enter into the country, clothes that are sold at shops. Those are manufactured for civilian wear, Mr. Chairman. So I want to know, why is UPDF behaving in such a manner? Why are they becoming so too aggressive, especially against the people who dress up for political reasons,
who admire
Mr.
to
Chairman,
be like them.
especially people coming from my party.
Okay.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have people who are ready to testify, and I want UPDF to get out properly on this. People who have been in the hands of the army as detainees, and they come back complaining that they were sodomized. Recently, the CDF came out and said that in fact it doesn't support even the law we made here as Parliament. So I want to know about the position of UPDF on same-sex marriage, you know, because their commander, to me, is their spokesperson.
Okay, you made your point.
Thank you.
Naibachireke, Honorable Lamwaka. Nalo.
Thank you, our visitors tonight, my colleagues. Sorry for coming late. My name is Lamwaka Margaret. I represent the people of Chua in Kegum district. Mr. Chairman, I want to echo on the issue of the medical equipment. We know very well that defense is the most affected institution. Why do I say this? Because they are fronted to wars anytime. And if the ministry gives them not even a drop in the sea, and they expect that they should move on, and yet they cannot be treated in other public hospitals, I see like we are giving a disservice to defense, and this one here we must have to take it on and make sure that their budget is done to, it must not be even like they come for supplementary, it must have to be in the budget. And I also want to echo a bit on what Honorable Mayundi, is it Lima Mayundi, has said on the issue of water. If really they could increase their budget, because if in 2024, 2025, the budget was 4.7 trillion, now they have gone down to 4.3, and yet even me, I'm growing. I'm not going down. Why can't they include now the solar system that can drill for them water, so that they reduce this issue? I still remember what we told police, especially to big barracks divisions where there are many soldiers. At least we should have at least a solar powered water which can reduce this expense or the budget which is always going very high. Mr. Chairman, my heart bleeds. I come from Kedgum. I was born and found Karamoja being an enemy to the neighboring districts, on raiding, doing many things to us.
Hostile.
Yes. But now, when it comes to budget, you get that the money which is given to my humble soldiers, I must report to you that they are doing some good job
In Karamoja.
in Karamoja and the neighboring districts.
Thank you.
At least they are working. But when they are not given money, they are not given money, and they can't go to civilian and ask them, give us money for fuel, and we follow your animals which have been raided. How do we want these people to help? And we keep on shouting that, yes, in Karamoja, in Kitgum, we are having insecurity. They have raided in Teso. They have raided in Lango. At least something must be done by Ministry of Finance to make sure that much as we are looking at the security of Congo, Somalia, and what have you, we first serve our people within. If something is not done, Mr. Chairman, one, my people are bringing a petition to Parliament. Two, we shall mobilize as the neighboring district and walk from Kitgum up to, is it the headquarters, is it Buea or Bombo? We shall go there. So something should be done. Then from there we go to Ministry of Finance, because it's finance which is bringing all this. I don't have any problem with the army, much as I'm a daughter to a soldier. But I'm not saying that my father has been, all these are my fathers and they're my friends. Then, Mr. Chairman, this Uganda Land Cargo Corporation, let us not say air. It is land. It is Uganda Land Cargo Corporation, because I've never seen it on the air. Every day is spare parts. Every day what? Every day what? Can we do something to this
So
thing?
it is Uganda air cargo that is always on the land.
On the land.
Grounded.
So we should have to change it from air cargo to land cargo, so that we know that this thing is permanently down here. I don't know what we should have to do. There must be something which could be done, because I remember when General Lakara was there. That was 2019, 2020 something. There was something which was coming up. And I don't know why this thing had remained grounded. And yet we are moving on. Then lastly, this budget of 4.3 trillion would have been increased by considering the veterans. All of you who are on uniforms are going to be veterans tomorrow. As one time when I went to pick one of my lovely sisters from the mortuary, as I was getting out, there was a writing that one time we were also like you. That means I will also be in the mortuary one time. So, why can't we look into this issue of the veteran? I have them in my district. When you look at the veterans, you even shed tears. Some of them are getting the pension. Is it the pension of pension? I think pension of 30,000 shillings. 30,000, and he's saying even 25. What are all these? They are not old. Some of these people were retired. Oh, okay, for them you can go for early retirement. But if you are not considered, if you are not given something that can make you also fit in the community, in the society, you will end up getting another way of going to
Thank you, Honorable Lamwaka.
Mr. Chairman, those are my points. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Though,
yeah.
I want to say that as Parliament and as leaders, should not be dwelling so much with something which has gone,
Thank
which
you.
has passed. We don't need to pull those things which has. If we keep on pulling, we will not move. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Honorable Brandon Kintu, then we give a chance to...
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Concern.
Honorable Brandon Kintu, please. You are the one with the... Honorable Margaret, diverted.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Sekukuru.
As introduced, I'm Brandon Chintu, a member of Parliament representing the people of Kagoma North constituency. But the most important, Mr. Chair, I speak for you. Correct. And the Vice Chair in the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, including the Minister.
And you're doing well.
Honorable Chair, in my line of duty, sometimes I'm with my good NRM and a long-time serving member of this committee, Honorable Sechikubo, and we try to answer and speak our programs. And when it comes to security, there are so many abuses of the UPDF. I think since the spokesperson is here of the UPDF will tell us, and the Minister, that the UPDF is arming and guarding men of God. Sometimes I fear to go to church because if a pastor is fearing, he's at the pulpit and guarded by UPDF behind. Now, is the UPDF more protected than God? And under what criteria are they arming, protecting these men of God? Mr. Chair, I'm a little scared even to give offertory in born-again churches because it looks insecure. So I would like to know from the UPDF, these men who are dressed in your uniform smartly, standing behind a man of God, so-called man of God, with a gun, and all those, I don't know the military language, with bullets and all these things. And then also some civilians, actually, with no security threat. We have crime intelligence, we have Uganda police. Nowadays, Mr. Chair, we are running into campaigns. You see some people that are saying, I'm connected to so I'm connected to a minister, both of both, is coming to campaign, and yes, true. I'm just giving an example, but I use big names because no one will claim saying I'm connected to Brandon. But now, these people are armed. I wrote a letter. I have this incident in Gaddafi barracks in Jinja. There is a so-called pastor, doctor, man of God. He's somewhere eyeing for political interest, but he moves with about 4 of these armed people. Green. I wrote to the RDs, I wrote to the DISO, I wrote one officer in this parliament who is a colleague of mine, and I wasn't answered, but I have documents. At an appropriate time, Honorable Chair, I will share them with you. Now, as a spokesperson of the NRM, some things cannot be defended when we are right here sitting. And when you ask, we shall handle. That's the normal. Now, if you can tell Brandon, who speaks for all the NRM MPs in Parliament, shall handle, and the issue is not handled, how about someone from Rita Makoli in Wiengo? So, please, UPDF, Uganda People's Defense Forces, let us lift this face of Uganda People's Defenses so that it's not ugly army for the... If somebody has a security threat, police is there. And there are so many other measures. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to singly go back on radio and defend the defendable because I love the UPDF.
Thank you. Sebi, then I come back to you. And let's conclude.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Because you need...
I was seeing that the absorption of these other entities expended less, and I would like to know why are they at 88.8% when the rest are at 99, 95, the list is 95, 91. So why are they absorbing less money? Then, Honorable Chair, there is something you talked about in relation to K9 food.
Yes.
And we had not interacted with the NEC Corporation, NEC Agro. I would like to thank them very much for what they are doing. This country is happy for you, and as members of Parliament on the committee, we are really happy for what you are doing. But when we went to Zambia police barracks, we found that they are feeding canine animals using a lot of money. And we were suggesting that
Imported food
Imported.
that could easily be produced here.
produced by NEC. Not only the canine food, but we have other food supplements that are medically, subscribed, that come from outside. You can look into it and manufacture them instead of buying them.
Thank you.
Using a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Keo, and we come.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I also want to, mine are related to what Honorable Lamwak and Honorable Sebikari have just stated. Uganda Air Cargo Corporation. Honorable Chair, this Honorable Committee did observe that Uganda Air Cargo, if properly capitalized, could be sole cargo for our maybe men and equipment in time of operation. What has the Minister of Defense done actually to make sure that Uganda Air Cargo is capitalized? Because this committee has always been giving a recommendation, and always, because it is not under their priority, I want to know whether it is under their priority or not, they have always had zero allocation. Yet this is an area that would attract a lot of NTR, even to the Minister of Defense. Then also on NEC Agro, like my colleague has stated, I am a member of COSASE, and we did visit and saw what they are doing. And no wonder the Auditor General's report has posted them as one of the profit making. I have an issue with the NEC Katonga farm, which posted negative in terms of NTR. I want to know from General Ula, what is not being done correctly, and why do you need to be capitalized when you are making zero profits? Because you are in negatives, in fact not even zero, negatives. You are making losses. And for NEC Uzima, actually you are making profit, but can you justify this allocation that you are calling for and that is going, because it is only for R&D. What is R&D? Research and development. Can we unpack R&D? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
It is research and development.
Absolutely.
Can you unpack it?
Thank you so much. On that one, we know research is a sine qua non, missiles or what. No, but you can say say defense capabilities, health, what. So it's better in that way.
Yeah, you are babysitting our.
Okay. Honorable Minister, we are giving you a chance to respond.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and colleagues. Especially thank you for the very useful remarks, observations, and questions raised. I have a number of people here, officials and the generals, who will answer a few of the questions put. And to start off with, Madam Buturo, Mrs. Buturo, you'll answer that question on pension. And followed by construction, General Besige, construction and solar. And then
my question is on pension. Honorable Chair, I want to first of all thank this Honorable Parliament and specifically the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs for the support we have received as a ministry in this direction. That until for 2014-15, we had never had a budget called pension and gratuity. And from that time, since the decentralization project or program started, we have consistently, Chair, paid our soldiers their pension and terminal benefits generally on time and to the level that is deserving of the respective ranks. Honorable Chair, we've been doing this in a phased way. First of all, as you recall, Chair, we had to inherit, we call it inheriting, the defense payroll, which was at Ministry of Public Service for quite a number of years. We got a supplementary budget that year, 2014-15, of 34 billion shillings, which we spent following verification of this pension budget. In the same year, Chair, we retired the first batch of UPDF. And we did this, Chair, following, we started with the current year, 14-15. And around that time, Chair, you recall that we had to do a verification exercise. We went out countrywide and captured a number of our soldiers who had, as of then, since 1992, and even World War veterans were in our category of soldiers to be paid. So we have, over time, working backwards, because the question has always been, why do you pay those who have just retired and have not considered those who retired much earlier? We had to go through a verification exercise for those retired much earlier, for us to be able to capture the accurate information. First of all, is this person alive? What's their rank? Are they deserving of the rank? And all that. So we had to go through a verification exercise to capture the outstanding since 1992. Now, for the other auxiliary forces, Chair,
yes, besides
UPDF, we had what we called NYA, NYA. We had what we called RIF, Reduction in Force, the 1992, and others. So as recently as last year, Chair, we want to also inform this Honorable House that we're able to pay a new entrant, the UNRF, from West Nile, one of the West Nile. We had two groups in West Nile. One we completely paid off the 5 billion shillings, and then one that is appearing here, the 21 billion not yet paid, is under verification. So then the groups mentioned and yet to be paid, Yamuka, the WNDF, are still under verification and are planned to be paid as soon as that verification exercise is done. But we have an estimation of how much they're supposed to be paid. So what I wanted to emphasize, sir, is that this is a priority area for us, from what I've said, and we are continually paying off these groups of honorable people who will serve this country. And until the last person is paid, we are not going to rest. So our prayer today was the 21 billion shillings that has been planned for the WNDF be granted, because we are in the process of finalizing.
So that means Western Nile Bank front is verified, documented and verified.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you would please send some person behind, because we can't hear well.
So you're right.
That we can also know.
Thank you, Clerk. Make sure.
In the process of verification, but in very advanced stages. And my minister is here, Veteran Affairs. He has done a very great job leading this crusade. And we have seen the results, Honorable Chair. And we believe that once the 21 billion is granted, this coming financial year, we should be able to, actually it should have been this year. We had asked for it as a supplementary in this current year. So once that money is given to us, we should be able to clear the WNBF. But I request perhaps that the Honourable Minister herself maybe updates the committee on the matters of concerning Rwenzori, this Rwenzori sub-region. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with your permission.
Honourable Minister, would you want to?
As the ministry, we are already in the process of organizing and also verifying the veterans from Rwenzori sub-region. we have decided to do it in a phased manner because we don't have all the resources to do it at once. But it is in the process. But even to make it a more important program, the President has set a committee of cabinet under the chairship of Attorney General, who is trying to holistically look at the issue of the veteran affairs of the veterans so that all of them are brought on board. And I'm a member of that committee. We are also concluding our report that we will also be taken to cabinet.
Okay.
Clarification to clear the pension backlog. Since then, this parliament has not allocated the money up to that tune. And in today's presentation, the accounting officer has presented a projection of 30 billion, 30.8, to clear the pension back. That for you, you just figure and come and present, because did it come from 537 billion that you needed 2 years ago to 30 billion?
No, you're saying 30 billion is for West Nile Bank from?
No. For the case, for the pension backlog.
Backlog.
Yes. And even then it was pension backlog. Those who were there.
Yet verification had not been done.
So Honorable Sechikuho, Honorable Ramwaka, those were members of the committee. So can we have explanation on this?
Thank you. Very clear. There's a member of the committee who just joined us. It's important that she introduces herself.
Thank you. The microphone is off. Thank you so much, Chair. My name is Gen.Muhoozi, and I'm a woman representative for Iwanda District. Very happy to see you here. I came from Iwanda just purposely to see you, and I appreciate you for the peace and unity that you've given the country, this country. Really, yeah, we need really to appreciate these men in uniform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a moment. The Honorable Seungu, and on pension, right?
Yes, I'm on pension, and I'm Seungu Joseph Gonzaga. You see, the issue of pension, where I did pay attention is on the privates.
We gave a chance to each member, so let's maybe you will get from responses. You are from
responses.
Yeah, thank you.
As I sit here as another clown in the
no, that's
vicinity.
okay. I can tell you get responses. Let's, Honorable Minister. On pension?
Yes.
Clarification, because you read.
The issue of West Nile Bank Front, which you are seeking money for, plus those other militants, prominent of whom was the FRONASA, and those who died before 1986.
Chairman, Honorable Sechikubo should give full information that he did not only participate in the framing of the employee and the staff of the Ministry of Defense.
Oh, good. That's very good, actually. Honorable Sechikubo, that's yeah, to the institution. That's why I gave you a second, third, fourth chance.
Mr. Chairman, of course, he has pulled my legs, now I can't stand firmly. But
I thought that is the reason you are kept on this committee, to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Mr. Chairman, then the issue was for all these other groups and militants who participated in the defense, in the fighting before 1986. They were not included on the schedule. And the ministry then promised, and Amama Mbabas, that he would come with a law to ratify even those fighters to qualify for pension, including those who died in the struggle in 1981 to 86, and were grouped together with West Nile Bank Front. So at what stage did the Ministry of Defense pick out West Nile Bank front and, for instance, leave those, the NRAs of 1981 to 86, up to 25th January 1986, they were never covered. And our prayer was, can also this group be catered for?
Thank you. Now you see institutional memory. Okay, over to you, Honorable Minister. Time is of essence.
Once again, thank you, Chair. And I want to begin by the question asked by. Look at, it's good you are one of those who drafted that law. When you look at that law, these groups here, like UNRF, is one of the groups that has been captured there. It's there in it. You just open the schedule and you will see that it's there. But when you come to the issue of NRA, especially that group you are talking about, which has not been captured there, these are people we already paying, but they are under the backlog group. And their schedule is from retirement from that time up to 2014. And that's why even those who could file for pension, their pension is very low, which Honorable said there are those who are getting even 30,000. Because we are using the formula under public service, which needed somebody to be there for more than 60 years. But when you look at the rules and procedures, let me use the parliamentary word, for the military. Some of the people retire when they have not even served for 10 years, not even 5 years. So when you use that formula of public service, it disservices them. And that's why in this bill that we have now tabled before you, we want to correct that. And when it is corrected, those who now qualify for pension are going to get a better pension. And that's why even now, after the enhancement that has been done, because it has not been approved in the law, their enhancement is still very low. It's not automatic that their pension has been increased. That's what I can say on that group that you are talking about. And for those who didn't have the numbers, because I know that's the next question you are going to ask, especially our people here in Luere Triangle, they worked, they fought, but they didn't get army numbers. They were satisfied when they get the power. They just went home peacefully and settled. So now they said they want to be paid because they fought, but they were not given numbers yet. They went not formally. So those are also groups that we are trying to recognize and look at. The UPDF is already trying to see what they can do for those people.
Is that part of the proposal in the amendment?
They are there. They
Okay.
are there. Those ones are there. So when we approve, really, most of these issues will be handled. My brother, I wish that we expedite the...
No, mine is just one clarification.